I am Dr. Aruna Mohan, retired professor from Delhi University, and today in this session we are going to discuss about heredity and evolution, heredity in particular. When we talk of heredity, the first name which comes in our mind is Mendel. Hats off to Mendel, which could do such a good work in the field of genetics and heredity. Mendel showed us the way how genes make the movement from one generation to another. He got interested in pea plant. He started growing pea plants and then observed certain characters. And after observing those characters, he counted. He was a good mathematician. Based on the numbers, he gave us three important laws: law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. Children, what these laws mean in matter of heredity? Now, characters are transferred from parents to children. How they are transferred, in what proportion, in what ratio, on that basis Mendel gave us these laws. He made a good cross of pure tall plants, of course pea plants, with pure dwarf plants or pure short plants. What do I mean by the word pure here? In those days, science was not so much developed that we can see the genetic makeup of any cell or any plant. He was growing plants, tall plants, again tall plants, again tall plants, and if tall is coming out of tall, he called it pure tall. Similarly, if short was coming out of short plant for many generations, he called it pure short plants. Now he crossed tall plants with short plants. To his surprise, in the next generation, all plants were tall. He thought that where the short character has gone, where it has disappeared, it cannot disappear anywhere because crosses between tall and short plants. So, there must be some reason behind it. Then he crossed tall and looking tall plants, which was first generation, or you can say self crossed, intercrossed. Again he was surprised. In the next generation, he got tall plants, he got short plants, and now he calculated the numbers and he found it out that the ratio is 3:1, 3 tall plants to 1 short plant. Again he started thinking that where the short character was in first generation, where all were looking tall, and how it has appeared again, that means it was hidden. And if it was hidden, then why it was hidden? And if it was hidden, then what was not hidden? So it was shown. Obviously, the short was hidden and tall was not hidden. I again go back to second slide to explain you the process. Now, when he crossed tall plants with short plants and he got all tall plants, he called it law of dominance. Again we have to know what was the basis. The basis was very simple. In fact, every character in our body, children, is governed by a pair of genes, not by single gene. And why we call it pair of genes? One gene is coming from mother and one is coming from father, or one is coming from male partner, other is coming from female partner. I can explain it in a different manner also. When you are born, the characters have come from your father, from your mother. Now, your father is also having characters governed by genes which are in pairs. Same with mother, she also has pairs of genes. For example, nose. For shape of nose or size of nose, there is a pair of gene. Father is having a pair of gene, mother is having. Now, you will not have nose looking like both, nose of father and nose of mother. Either you will have father's kind of nose or mother's kind of nose or something in between. Now, how it happens? If we understand that, we know the law of dominance. So, when these genes meet, then a baby is formed with the particular characters. But in father, the characters first separate and then reunite in zygote. Means, suppose there is a pair of genes carrying on one character, that pair of genes will separate and then reunite, and that reunion will be maybe different from the one which he had already, and same in the case of mother. Children, you are aware of cell division, mitosis and meiosis. In meiosis, it is a reduction division, the chromosome number becomes half, and hence one gene of one pair will go to one sperm or one ova, and other pair of other gene of this pair will go to other gamete. That means, one gamete is going to have one gene of one pair, not both. And when they reunite at the time of fertilization, so this one will unite with one of mother, and that will make a pair. Now, expression will be the one which is dominating. That means, in a pair of genes, one is dominating and other is recessive, or both are dominating or both are recessive. So, if both are dominating, dominating character comes. In this case, if both were tall, tall will come. If both are recessive, recessive character comes. That means, if both are short, in case of Mendel's experiment, then short will come. But if it is one tall and one short, which union is possible, then tall will come and short will be hidden. But this short may show up in the next generation. From this, Mendel derived the first law, that is law of dominance, that dominating character will show itself in the next generation. Children, you may have question in your mind, how I decide which is dominating character and which is recessive character? Why I said tall is dominating and short is recessive? Why not otherwise? Why not short dominating and tall recessive? The answer is simple. When you are crossing pure tall with pure short, whatever you get in first generation, which we call F1 generation, that is the dominating. Mendel got all tall in first generation. So, capital T or tall is dominating and small t or short is recessive. So, this made law of dominance. I am sure children you have understood what we mean by law of dominance. Law of segregation means the genes segregate, which I explained you earlier, that at the time of meiosis genes will separate. One will go to one gamete, other will go to other gamete. With the result, at the time of fertilization, only one gene is participating from one parent, other gene from other parent. So, this is segregation. Unless they segregate, they cannot reunite in different fashion. So, that was law of segregation. And third is law of independent assortment. Children, this is very interesting. You should understand it in a different manner. Each gene moves independently. It is assorted independently. You have heard about packet of assorted biscuits. So, this packet is having assorted biscuits. When you open the packet, you will find 4 sweet biscuits, 4 salt biscuits, 4 biscuits of other shapes kind. So, they all are separate inside the box. They are not mixed up. That is called assortment. Similarly, assortment here is each gene, though it is in your body together, but it is assorted differently, independently. I will give you one example. Your eye. In the eye, you have eyelashes, you have eyelid, you have eyebrow, lens, cornea, vitreous fluid, aqueous fluid, and so many things, yellow spot, black spot. Now, your eye is not made up of one pair of genes. It is made by many pairs of genes, hundreds. Now, these hundreds pairs of genes will have independent assortment, that is 3:1, and each will have its effect independently, and this independent effect of 100 genes, for example, you put together, that is your eye. That is the shape of your eye or color of your eye or how your eye looks. So, from your parents you got hundreds of characters for your eye, whichever was dominating in whichever character, that is your eye. That is why your eye may be so different from your parents' eye, but yeah, it will resemble somewhere or the other. Now, this is law of independent assortment. After giving you this much of background, a brief background, now let me explain you monohybrid cross. Monohybrid, when I am taking one character in consideration. In our body there are thousands and thousands, millions and millions of characters. Each character is taking the root which I am going to explain you now, a monohybrid cross. I will explain it in terms of Mendel. Mendel crossed tall plant with short plant. Let me take one character, tall and short. Now, if I want to explain it in the form of activity, I will take beads which will represent genes. Beads, you can take two colors because we are doing monohybrid. So, I have taken red beads and black beads. Let me say that black is representing tall plant and red is representing short plant. Now, as per rule of reproduction, when fertilization takes place, then these genes will mix with each other. So, I have mixed the characters. Fertilization has taken place. Now, for this activity, you have to take one care, children. Count the beads in the multiple of 4. I have taken 48 beads of red color and 48 of black color. Why 4? Because finally the ratio which we will derive will be 1:2:1. For that, 48 comes in multiple of 4. So, 48 red beads and 48 black beads are mixed. Now, at a time without seeing, I will take, let me put it here. In the class, you can put on a duster. Without seeing, I will pick 2 beads. Now, it will be either both red or both black or one red and one black. Accordingly, I will make 3 clusters. Now, this is both black. So, I have put here. Again, I will take 2. It is one black and one red. So, I will put in this. Again, I have taken 2. Again, one red and one black, I will put in middle one. In the class, each child can take one pair, both red. So, it comes in the third. So, like this I will make clusters, and because I have taken 48 both beads, so I am going to have 48 pairs. So, this one black, one red. In nature, it is happening without seeing, so we will also do without seeing. Both red, one red, one black. Both black. And please see to it that you take both black. You take small size beads and you are doing it without seeing, no selection, both black. One black, one red. Smaller the size of bead, better is the result. So, what we are coming across, 3:1 or 1:2:1, one black, one red, both red. Again both red, one black, one red, both red, both black, one black, one red. By mistake, if you take 3 beads, do not make 2 out of it, put back and again take 2, because selection should not come into picture. One black, one red again, 2 red, one black, one red, one black, one red, 2 black, one red, one black, 2 black, one red, one black, 2 red, 2 black, one red, one black, one red, one black again. This is interesting because we are going to get this category more. 2 red, 2 red, again 2 red, 2 black, black red, again black red, 2 black, black red, black red again, 2 black, 2 black, 2 red, two red, 2 black, one more is there, black red. These are our clusters. Before I count this, let me explain you the next slide. As I told you, 2 beads, and the possibility is we will have red red or black black or red black. We have to calculate the proportion. Before I count this, I would like to tell you in the next slide how the proportion comes. Children, you can see capital T is crossed with small t, and you can see the genes, how they segregated capital T from one, small t from other, then capital T from one, capital T from other. On the basis of that, you have 4 groups, capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t and small t, small t. That means, you have pure tall, you have hybrid tall, again hybrid tall, and then you have pure short. Now, this is in the ratio of 3:1, because the first one pure tall will look tall, the 2 hybrids capital T, small t will look tall, again capital T, small t will look tall. So, 3 out of 4, and fourth is small t, so it will look short. So, what is the ratio? 3:1. But this is phenotypic ratio, how it looks. When you go inside and see the genes, the ratio is 1 pure tall, 2 hybrids and 1 pure short. So, genotypic ratio is 1:2:1, and that is the reason we took beads in the multiple of 4. So, phenotypic means how one looks like, genotypic means what your genes are. Now, since we have separated in 3 clusters, so this is black one is our pure tall, this red one is our pure short, and we have a cluster which has black and red beads both. They will look black or they will look tall, they are hybrid tall. So, it makes the middle cluster. So, if I talk in terms of ratio, it should be 1:2:1. Now, let me count. You remember children, we took 48 pairs. So, 12 into 44, 12 into 4, that makes 48. So, I expect 12 pairs in red, 12 pairs in black and 24 pairs in red and black. I will count now to see whether it is coming true. There may be difference of 1 sometimes, because our sample is very small. If you repeat the experiment 3 times and take the average, the result will come, or if you take a bigger sample of 200 beads each, then also result will be very accurate. Children do not forget that in nature it is taking place in millions of genes. So, I am now counting the tall plants, the black beads. I will count in pairs, 1 pair, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, 1 extra, but it is very close to 12 because we are doing it mechanically. Now, I am counting short plants. We expect 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs, 5 pairs, 6 pairs, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Here also we have 1 extra. That means we are going to have 2 less here. So, I expected it to be 24, which will be 22 most probably. So, I am taking 1 red and 1 black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So, children, let us analyze our result, which is genuine accurate result. Here we expected 24, we have 22, 1 has gone here, 1 has gone here, which can happen in nature. So, our ratio still is 1:2:1, 1 tall, 1 short and 2 hybrid tall, and together 3:1. Children, one thing which I would like to emphasize here is, if you are taking red as dominating character, then we say these two together make tall and this makes short, 3:1. 3 means 2 parts and 1 part, 1 pure, 2 parts hybrid, 3 and 1. Suppose you consider black as tall plants or dominating character, then this is 3:1. This is 1 pure, this is hybrid pure and this is hybrid tall, pure tall and this is pure short. So, now it is 3:1. Of course, we have provision of considering any color of bead for any character, but whatever we consider we have to go ahead with that. In case of Mendel, he could see tall plants and short plants. Here we will see the color and identify. So, 3:1 means 1 small cluster and 1 middle cluster. So, 1, 2, 3, that means together 3:1. That is phenotypic. When you separate them, 1:2:1, that is genotypic, pure, again pure and hybrid, which will show dominating character. So, this is how we represent phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio. You can explain it either way. You can consider either of the color as dominating character and go ahead with counting of that. So, Mendel's law comes true even in such a small sample of 48 pairs. When it takes place in nature, it comes very accurately. Now, from this I would like to explain you the same point which I was trying to explain earlier also, that in your body each gene is taking this movement, this path independently, assorted independently. By the law of dominance, it is showing its effect phenotypically. So, each gene in your body moves this way, and whatever is the final result, whether dominating should show, whether recessive should show, or whether hybrid should show as dominating, that is how you look like. So, Mendel gave us this particular result, and this can be proved by monohybrid cross, that is cross between one pair of characters. Now, similarly, we can take 2 characters, we can take 3 characters, 4 characters. Like Mendel did with 2 characters, he took tall plant. Of course, he took contrasting characters because he was looking with his eyes and doing, he was not looking into the microscope, he did not have all those facilities. So, phenotypically he was doing. So, he took contrasting characters always, like round seed of pea plant and wrinkled seed. So, if he is crossing tall plant and round seed with short plant and wrinkled seed, then it is dihybrid cross, and he got the result 9:3:3:1, which we will do in terms of activity in our next session. When you go to 3 characters, again numbers will increase, and 4 characters the numbers will increase so much that it will be difficult to write it properly on the paper, how many numbers will come, and similarly it will go on increasing. Now, children, try to visualize that you have millions of characters in your body, and each character is moving in this fashion and showing the law of dominance, showing the law of segregation, showing the law of independent assortment, and whatever is the final picture, that is how you look like. This is Mendel's contribution in heredity, the first step. Of course, there are many more. I would like to summarize what I have explained. We have discussed heredity, and we have tried to explain how Mendel did the experiment on tall plants and short pea plants. Keeping that in mind, we have done the activity taking beads of 2 colors, depicting tall plants and short plants to check the ratio 3:1 and 1:2:1. The phenotypic ratio of 3:1 came correctly in our experiment with beads, where beads were acting as genes, and genotypic ratio of 1:2:1 also came correctly in our experiment. When we can get almost accurate result with such a small sample, we are sure that in nature, when it is happening in millions of characters of genes, then it is really moving in the way Mendel explained to us. Today, we have understood monohybrid cross. Similarly, dihybrid cross can also take place with the beads, which we will discuss in the next session. Your understanding of genes taking beads example is complete in monohybrid cross. Thank you.